It's fine. I don't care. At least I hope it's going to be. Anyway, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast 717. Some people just don't get it, or some people don't get it. Star Wars changes. And this is from a YouTuber you might have remembered. We covered years ago. HelloGreedo. Yay. The ever talkative fellow who talks about fans he disagrees with, I think. I think that's pretty much his channel. He just doesn't like fans of his hobby. And he talks about them. So, hooray. This came out 5 days ago. It's got 18,000 views. That seems a bit lackluster considering he's got 223,000 subs. But, you know, Star Wars is not what it used to be. Not too many people care about it. Or maybe there are the hardcore fans who still watch the various streaming series out there on Disney Plus. I think they mostly do it, if not only Disney Plus. I'm sure they license it out to other services. But, yeah, no, I just don't care. Like, Star Wars is not on my radar. It is not interesting enough for me to care unless there's a talk about KOTOR. And that's usually in passing, like some ex-BioWare employee talks about KOTOR. And there was one, actually, I think 2 weeks ago, that he talked about how KOTOR was inspired by Chrono Cross, believe it or not. So,
what?
Yeah, fascinating stuff.
I can see it.
I have to stretch it. I have to say, how did it connect the dots? I don't know. But we're talking about the first KOTOR because that's the BioWare guy who was a D&D hardcore dude who later on went to do Dragon Age and a bunch of other stuff. And then he left finally a few years back to do his own thing. And this is all he does. He just did D&D. Like, that was his whole thing. And the doctors at BioWare said, well, maybe you should research the characters of D&D and write some backstories and really bring out some characterization when you set out these plots when you made Baldur's Gate. And that's why Baldur's Gate was so amazing, because of this one dude. I think his name was John something. I can't remember his name. But he had an interview on Rock, Paper, Shotgun, I think last week or two, which was, wow. I'm like, holy crap. That's fascinating to know. Anyway, 10 minutes of Greedo, HelloGreedo. And his...
Oh, he still has the helmet on.
Yeah, I was hoping for the coffee mug. Maybe he's got that hanging around there, if I remember. Anyway, 10 minutes. Let's get this over with. I think our volume levels are fine, so let's get going.
The last time the unaltered versions were released was 2006 on PD, a technology, a resolution that has been obsolete for well over a decade. So when someone says, just watch your original versions and stop complaining, I can't help but think about these comparisons.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with DVD. There's nothing wrong with HD DVD. What's the... I'm trying to remember the standard names we've had over the years as technology got better. I think we're at like 8K now or whatever. But there's HD. There was full HD, which was 1080p. And then there was Ultra, which is, 4K. Does anyone have a 4K monitor at all?
No.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, I just don't care.
I don't have enough pixels.
Yeah, it doesn't really bother me. Like, I got a silly little bendy screen for one of my jobs. And I was like, I don't need this. This is gigantic. And it's just taking up too much space on my desk. So why would I want more? And
Also, one thing worth noting, I'm wondering if he's actually going to get into why these images look different, because it's not just because one is DVD and one is 4K. You can have a higher resolution. The higher resolution won't fundamentally change the exposure like this. This was a deliberate choice on the person doing the effect.
I remember the...
it's a lot more subtle when it comes to pixels.
Yeah, I remember the remastered version of TNG was on Blu-ray. Like, you could tell the change because it was originally like for TV, so it was like 480 or 640 by 480 or whatever the box standard was. And when they remastered it, it's like, oh wow, it looks better, but I don't like it. I just does not look the same. It doesn't have the same granular feel for whatever that vibe is on TNG. Like, it just did not
And
feel like.
you saw so many more of the production errors because they didn't bother because they knew you couldn't see them.
Yeah,
But
it felt
on a higher resolution, the higher resolution, especially when you then added the widescreen version.
Yeah, it
You could
almost.
see so much that shouldn't be on screen.
Yeah, there's some things that just didn't like not plastic, but like that fake wood grain sort of look is like, this doesn't look good. Something's off. But I always go back and watch the TNG episodes on streaming on Tubi or any free streaming service. In the original, you see the black lines on the sides. It's like, I don't care. It looks good. That's how I remember it. So
I will always remember when I first saw Voyager on HD
oh yeah,
and Janeway's hairdo
Which-
turned from this absolute marble rock stone, this immovable object, into these millions of hairs poking out and reflecting the light, and so she always looked like a mop.
yeah. No, she went through about a dozen different hairstyles throughout the first season. It's just they kept changing her hair. I don't know how technology feature can do that, but I mean, good for production values, I guess. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Star Whores, the Blown Wars. That's an interesting name you have there. What HelloGreedo doesn't understand is that Star Wars do understand that Star Wars changes. Like, Star Wars fans do understand that Star Wars changes. What we take umbrage is that it changes into something bad. This is Loke, a Nazi, saying Jews don't get it, Germany changes in response to the Holocaust.
Ooh.
Okay, can we not go there when it's over 4K versus DVD?
Yeah, I think one is big enough an issue to not bring in the Holocaust. Okay. Anyway,
That was a very, very quick Godwin's law.
yeah,
It was, wow, that escalated quickly.
yeah. So we're not going to bring in politics to this issue. It's simple enough, and some people just like the originals. My aunt, who is still around, who still babysits, not as much, still has her original VHSs of all the old classic Disney's films from the 70s to the 90s. So they work. The VHS player still works, you know. So yeah, it's great.
I will say I am not an expert on TV quality or TVs in general, or like 4K, 1080p, stuff like that, and what effect each. Like, I cannot tell you that I'm an expert on this. What I can tell you is that a lot of companies fuck up re-releases. Like, a lot. They mess with the colors. They mess with the shadows. If you ever seen the one horrendous re-release they did of I think it was it was Batman. Like 1970s Batman.
Right.
Where they just removed the shadows
What?
and brightened everything up so it looks horrendous.
Well,
And they had to make a re-release of the re-release to fix it.
But Batman is dark.
well, not the 70s version. Yeah, no, I'm remembering like the original Star Wars, 1977, and the 20-year later remastered version, the 1997 version, where they brought back a deleted scene, which was with Jabba the Hutt, because the original deleted scene, Jabba the Hutt was played by an actor, and I think that we saw the real Jabba in like the 83 version of Episode 6, which was a like a $500,000 practical prop with like 3 puppeteers and all kinds of other stuff. But with the 97 version with ILM, now that Lucas had billions of bucks and he could do whatever he needed to do, they put that scene back in. I was like, oh, that's great. So they didn't change the story. They just added the stuff that wasn't there, and they made it look better. Yeah, they added other shit like, cars flying by and a rock over here that wasn't there before, like little cosmetic stuff. But they brought back a scene that was taken out. So it's like, hey,
The one in the hangar where he talks with Han.
yeah, and he steps over him, and Jabba's like, "Arr!" because he stops on his tail.
It was nice to see that, but I think overall, overdoing the let's fill everything in, can, and maybe with that it was detrimental, because Jabba the Hutt was just this shadowy figure mentioned that Han had to deal with, and then only revealing that guy in the last movie,
Right.
made much more impact.
Yeah, I would say.
Oh, that is that guy. Yeah, I would be scared of that thing.
Yeah, I would. Well, plus he's like sitting in his realm. He's got Princess Leia in a slave outfit with chain. Like he's kind of like the big boss man. So
Yeah, and that introduction has a completely different vibe than Jabba just going through the hangar, being mostly alone. And
but that's the
walking
point
like that.
of.
Okay, he's a weird snake guy.
That's the point of getting
And in
the extended version for the
in
fan,
his throne room,
not for
when
the.
you see him the first time in his throne room, it's this impactful dark monster.
Oh, right, but the reason I'm saying this is a good thing is because everyone's already watched the 90s or the 77 version, and you would only get to see the 97 version if you cared to see the extras, which wasn't much. But you could say, oh, okay, now I've had this experience. I'm going to have it again 20 years later. What's the difference? And you could pick it apart whether you like it or not. So it's kind of like an after the fact.
Yeah,
I know it's coming.
Yeah, but you must understand there will always be a new generation of children that sees Star Wars and any other movie or movie franchise for the first time. And their first viewing of Star Wars, they view this version, is completely different from the one that actually released originally. It's like whether you watch the Blade Runner version with narration and the one without first.
Well, it's a little different because of the level of computer technology we had in the 90s to do stuff like that in the first place, as opposed to like a video game that could be upgraded.
It's not a question of can you add it. It's a question of in the overall art piece that is the movie, does it make sense to have it in or not? And for the Jabba scene, I would say, even though it is a good looking scene, it makes more sense to leave it out.
Oh, I would say the cutting of the original edition is perfect. Like you don't need to.
Okay, I found it. What I was talking about. It was the 1989 which I was thinking of, where the 2019 release puts on a blue filter on literally everything in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Mike was mentioning. Mike Tesla was mentioning in the comments. Is that Penguin's appearance has this eerie blue filter on it, and they did that for the whole Blu-ray release. This is the one that Warner Bros. Is pushing. Whereas the dark one, yeah, you can't get that unless you want to pay $300 for it on eBay.
And that is, they're both SDR, and then for some reason the 2019 HDR is just slightly less blue. Like what is?
They're both cyan, and the original is purple.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're getting too many colors on the screen for no reason. In our quest for higher definitions of re-releases of a.
That's the problem with. That's a big problem with 4K releases. Is that the people handling the 4K releases want to essentially reinvent the movie.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Or take their spin on it, which is why I immediately brought up how this is. If you just increase the pixels, that is not how Chewbacca's gonna look. Now, if you fuck with the filters, that is how Chewbacca can look.
Yeah, you could easily bring down the saturation on the right to make it look better. This is too much. We don't need this level of detail for Chewbacca.
Anyone who wants to put his personal modern spin on a classic is just a hack.
I think it has to do with technology, though, because we have now that we have the good technology, we could see the batter's spittle as he hits the ball and blah, blah, blah. It's like, we got to do everything like that. It's like, well, you can, but I don't really care for that. It's not necessary to see all these details. And of course, there's the whole thing of hand shot. Who shot first? Did hand shoot first or not?
And I don't need to see the seams in the costumes.
Yeah, right. We don't need that level of detail. It's not necessary.
Because that's one of these things that, like what I mentioned about TNG. These movies are made with an understanding of what it looks like in the end on screen. They know that on this quality, you can't see the seams. So if you up the quality in this way, well, then that falls apart, and you have suspension of disbelief breaking way easier.
Unless the guys doing the remastering actually have post-production and fix that, which they don't because it's too expensive. So, yeah, no, it's
want to make a quick buck.
It's a lot of work just to make money, and it's like, well, either do it right or not at all.
No, it's just making a quick buck.
Yeah.
Anyway. I would even think that a lot of people do not notice.
I would say so too.
I've had to watch Marvel movies with normie friends, and they I'm not even sure they watched the movies. Like the one girl, she only watched the movies with Captain America because she liked Captain America, but not because of his character. But she was a total Captain America fan.
All right.
For the muscles.
Of course.
Okay.
Resolution of DVD is 720 by Ultra HD, aka 4K, is 3840 by 2160. It's less about nitpicking individual changes and more about preserving classic film.
What? If you want to preserve classic film, you put it in a box with the little key and you make sure it's airtight and you put it on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, you don't need to make Luke orange and give him lipstick.
How does it have anything to do with preserving film? I don't understand. If you want to preserve,
Okay.
Looks like he has a skin condition.
Okay, so the thing I posted in chat is kind of what I think he's going for here is that the people that are doing this are not just increasing the pixels, they are making the movies look different to how they were when everyone else watched them. And so the people that are coming back to watch it are going to go, hang on, this doesn't look right. And new people are going to go, ugh. This is your hero?
Yeah.
This skin condition looking ass? So I can see
he got exposed to spice, but not in the good way.
yeah, if you want to preserve the original, all you would do is literally copy and paste it to the new format and let it go like we have with Star Trek TNG, and you could watch that on streaming for free on Tubi, which I do all the time. And you see, it's not fit for 4K. It's not fit for 1080p. It's not even fit for 720p. And I don't care. I don't need that resolution. It's fine the way it was. That's preserving the way it. Just copy and paste it. That's all you got to do. If you want to digitize it, format the analog to digital, and you're done. You've done your job. You've preserved it. As soon as you start changing things, that's not preservation. Okay, that's like taking the cask of Tutankhamun and just like stretching it out because it's not big enough because now you can melt gold better than the Egyptians could back in the day. It's like, no, it's silly.
Let's get into it.
Dude changed his movie a little.
Oh, here we go. We're going to bring up random people on Twitter that have no bearing on anything. Here we go.
Oh, this is a
So-
YouTube comment.
Oh, yeah?
If you're truly a fan, you'd be able to forgive it. Get over yourself. Why is Greedo shooting first a big deal?
Okay, that actually does matter because that changes the scenario. So
That changes everything about Han Solo.
Matter? I can't with Boomer Star, 7-year-old millennial. Why are you so negative? I really do.
My guy. That is not the retort you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
I believe all the new changes were for the best. You are just so used to the old version that you think anything else will ruin the movie. But if you can't understand why it's better to put an extra rock in front of R2-D2 for it to make a little more sense about him being hidden, then you'll never understand. Why are you complaining if the change they made is better? Don't be so purist, friend. Many times the changes are to improve. So much Lucas
Are
bashing.
you actually
Grow
going
up,
to tackle any of these?
kiddo.
Or are you just
It's
going
his
to read these?
these are kind of
What?
silly. These are like
Is he actually going to react to any of these, or is he just going to go through them and then act as a generalist?
He'll brush them all off with one stupid line, probably.
Yeah, these kids are dumb.
Which is no better than the comments.
Yeah.
Of art, and he may very well do the 1977 version if the new ones are unbearable to watch for you. HelloGreedo is just an old fart who can accept changes or new things. Total dick. The audacity of this cursing nerd to bitch about George Lucas biting the hand that feeds him like a teething spoiled brat. And if inserting a rock in the still is...
Right? No, George Lucas was the hand that fed people.
Yeah,
but
the problem with George was he went too far, and those people needed to like say, George, slow down. You don't need to do this. It's fine.
Yeah. Not every change is for the better, and the main problem is the changes that are not for the better.
Yeah.
That is basically all you need to say to refute all of this crap. And most of the changes that were made were not for the better.
In this useless WTF is making a video for his movies. In his vision, he can make them and change them to his liking. He doesn't have to please you. It's just an upgrade.
Yeah, then we would have gotten the George Lucas cut of A New Hope, and Star Wars would have completely flopped. Way more than Mom and Dad Save the World.
Yeah,
no?
we can.
Have you heard of the original cut of Lucas?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, imagine we would have got that would have come out. Do you think Star Wars would have been the thing it was?
Would have been like 2.5 hours long of just this random conversations between people. Like, what is happening?
You would have had the cool special effect scenes, but people would have more indulged in them outside of the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching the original Dune and going, oh, this is a fight scene with this weird CGI effect of like shields, and then just random dialogue, and then then there's an ornithopter, then there's a giant like it was well paced enough that it was like, random cool stuff happening throughout long boring politics stuff. So it was cut up a lot to speed it up along the film, but it was just enough in some cases, but still not the best film to watch as a sci-fi film in the 70s. But definitely of a higher production than other films at the time. So
yeah, the thing with Dune is that for a movie, it is, especially with Lynch, it works more by focusing on the look of the world than what the story is about, which is about consciousness. How do you bring that to screen without psychedelic nonsense and avant-garde stuff that probably doesn't even work? I'm not sure you can really translate Dune. The new movie attempt does a good thing in visuals, to be true to that, but the actual spirit of it that is behind that, I'm not sure you can bring that to screen in a standard audience movie. I'm not sure it's possible.
This new era, stop crying like a little bitch. Dude, do you ever stop complaining instead of throwing a tantrum about how every change sucks? How about you stick with the original versions and pretend the changes don't exist? George Lucas doesn't care about you, HelloGreedo, because he knows he is better than you, and you are just a shitty vlogger.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's right. There are thousands of comments like this on my 8 Star Wars Changes videos over the past 12 years of this channel's
You could have finished, you could have gotten to the 10 minutes for the algorithm very easily by just responding to these with sensible short answers.
Get it, to an extent. Years ago, my production was quite different back then. I was channeling a lot of angry video game nerd in my first couple of videos. I probably should have laid out the big picture a little better and in a better manner. I digress. A lot of the comments are along these lines. This is why I hate most of the fandom. They are all whiny dudes who complain about a rock put here or there. Oh, how you dare to put more digital guys in there. You ruined my childhood. The old versions are still available. Watch those. Are they though? I don't think a lot of the commenters understand.
They are. We've bought them. We have them in our closets. Some of them are digital. That's true. They've been converted. So what's the
that your VHSs and DVDs eventually disintegrate?
Oh yeah, any magnetic tape does, but these products have been digitized. They haven't been remastered. They've just been copied. So you can watch them on streaming for free.
Never trust streaming services. They edit the shit out of these things secretly.
All right.
And broader situation. It's not really about the it's about preserving classic film. It's about the fact that the original versions, at least officially, have been relatively lost with time. The last official release of the original versions of Star Wars came out on DVD in 2006, almost 20 years ago. Each movie in that DVD pack came with 2 discs, one featuring the 2004 remasters that have all the changes in them, and one featuring the original theatrical cuts. In 2006...
Yeah, now we have the internet, and everything's there, and you could find it for free. Free. Anyway, this is not an argument. Preserving the past of a movie that you get in multiple versions... I don't get it. This is not an argument to make these days. Like, what do? Buy a USB stick, buddy, and put whatever you want on there. It's preserved.
StarWars.com laid out a little summary about this DVD release. They said, quote, "This is a chance for longtime fans to re-experience the movies as they originally played during their first theatrical release, and an opportunity for new fans to see a bit of movie history." Close quote. Despite technology monumentally improving since the days of 480p DVD, the original versions have not been allowed to be preserved on Blu-ray or 4K. The original versions are dead in the water at a resolution that has been obsolete for over a decade. So
yeah, but people still watch 480p on their phones, and they will keep doing so. So I don't get this. You can find, I'm sure, Star Wars in 480p, the original, without the remaster, without the DVD, without the secret or the special edition, the 97. This is not an argument. We live in the digital age, buddy. Someone has done this, and you could find it on a torrent site or a free download site or a TV site or wherever.
The 10 megabyte GIF.
Oh yeah, there's a GIF version.
Yeah, just as of all the Shrek movies, you can watch it in GIF.
Oh wow.
To watch your VHS or DVD copy is missing the entire point of the argument.
So
it's not about rocks, it's not about Jabba, it's not even about Han shot first, despite that being a...
Whoa, what happened? We got rewound.
I think Sir Axelot is loading the watch together.
Sir Axelot just blare. Oh, we're back.
Hi.
Hi there, sir. How's it going?
Not bad. It has been a minute.
All right. Well, we are busy watching the ever-loved HelloGreedo bitching about the lack of preservation of old films from the 70s that we can never find ever again, even though it's the most popular franchise ever, and it hasn't been duplicated onto digital formats millions of times over since the internet was born, pretty much.
Yeah. How old is this video?
I think 5 days.
Really? HelloGreedo made this video less than 5 days ago.
Yeah, I know.
The HelloGreedo, Mr. Consume Product, HelloGreedo, that one?
I don't know what he's like these days because we haven't covered him in over a year, but I think so, yeah.
He a long time ago went full shut up and enjoy the Star Wars, so it's kind of funny to hear him of all people acting like there's a big problem with this changes to the source material.
Everyone is allowed to grow up.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess a lot can change in a couple days.
Here is the Dark Seraph for the $5. Thank you, sir. It's a rant about nothing. How do we know when it's over? Yeah, no, this is what he does. He makes up some random issue that doesn't exist. He brings up one of those YouTube comments that of people that who cares about what they have to say. They couldn't even formulate sentences properly.
How many did he bring up?
At least 6.
Wow.
It felt like a dozen.
Wow, that's amazing. He beat my law. It was more than 2 random comments. Kudos, HelloGreedo. Although I usually say it's Twitter posts, so
Well, I think
they have the number of likes shown.
I think because they see him as the old man screaming at the young kids about the popular film thing, that he's sort of a target. So he's sort of, oh, look at what these kids said to me. It's like, okay, that's great.
Yeah, maybe. We got somebody in chat saying he might be talking about how there isn't a legal digital release of the original. I can kind of understand that. I don't like the special editions. I'm kind of on his side on that one. I also own several copies of the original version, those DVDs of all 3 movies, so that A, I don't lose them, and B, other people can't watch them.
I like the argument.
Stop enjoying Star Wars.
The argument he's trying to make is that he doesn't care about the content per se. He just wants to preserve the original, which is fine. Yeah, okay, but that's a different argument in the context he's bringing it up, because if you're talking about preserving the micro, what is it, the 35 mil or whatever microfiche, whatever the hell the technology was for the 70s and 80s to make film that was used, then you'd say, okay, how do you convert that to a digital format and store that somewhere where no one can lose it? It's like, oh yeah, we have that. It's called the internet. It's been done millions of times over. So whether it's legal or illegal, you'll find it. So it's not a concern. It's already been done. I'm sure you can find the 77 version of episode 4 on the internet in its low quality versions just fine. And we're talking about the American, not the North American or the European or the Japanese, or no, just the original, I'm sure.
What we need is to engrave onto marble with an electron microscope the digital version of the original version of Star Wars, so that future civilizations can watch it.
I like that idea.
Okay. Anyway, I like the animated GIF.
Write the whole script out on a grain of rice.
There you go.
I mean, somebody's probably done that, to be honest with you. There's probably a grain of rice with the Star Wars script on it.
Well, they are making dick butts with electron microscopes. So.
Don't know what that is.
Humanity for you.
Anyway.
All right, let's listen to a boomer talk about some nonsense.
It's not about rocks, it's not about Jabba. At first, despite that being a good slogan or catchphrase for this entire argument, it's about the preservation. If both versions of all versions were available
okay,
for modern viewing, this wouldn't even be an issue at all. If the original versions were preserved in a modern format, well, there really wouldn't be any...
both versions of all movies? But what does he mean both?
Yeah.
What does both versions mean?
DVD and 4K?
Well, he did say he wants to preserve the original version in a modern resolution, which is you can't do. They weren't made to be that.
I guess maybe he's saying both versions, like the original and special edition of all formats.
Right.
I don't know. It's a poorly worded sentence.
Yeah, this is the argument you get for like people who buy the next PlayStation. It's like, why can't you remaster one of the PS1 games for the PS4 or whatever? Like the backwards compatibility is a thing, but they want like updated graphics or whatever to fit the new hardware. And you're like, no, it's fine. It was perfectly fine. But I want it updated. It's like, well, you can't. If you update it, you're changing it, you're enhancing it. It's a remaster. That's not what you want. So you either get a remaster or you get old tech on new hardware. What do you want? And if you already have it, then what's the problem?
Oh, now I get the title. It is not Star Wars changes the verb, it is changes the plural noun.
I guess so.
Right. Yeah. Changes to Star Wars as opposed to you don't get it. Star Wars is changing. I
Yeah.
think.
See,
And
English
I
needs to
think
come
what
to
he's
light
saying
soon.
some people don't get is why it's important, why it's a problem that there are these changes. Maybe I don't know. This is like I said. I mean, I'm coming in halfway through here, obviously, so there's a good bit of the intro that I missed. But
All right. Anyway, we're almost halfway done, which is amazing because we were expecting to finish this off by now because he had nothing to say. But apparently he's arguing about preservation, which I don't even know what that is.
To be fair, we spent like 30 minutes, or not 30 minutes, like 15, 20 minutes talking about a theoretical scenario. Like 15 seconds into the video.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway.
I think most people I would be perfectly satisfied with the ability to watch an official release of the originals alongside the existing special edition or Blu-ray or McClunky versions, even. You see, a lot of Blu-ray and 4K box sets include multiple versions of a film. My Blade Runner Blu-ray collector set includes 5 discs, 5 versions of Blade Runner. Yeah, there are 5 versions of Blade Runner. But Ridley Scott decided to release...
Yeah, but that's because Ridley Scott's a retard. He had he made like 11 versions of Blade Runner for no reason.
yeah, but I still get the point he's making here. Like the bigger issue is, it's easy enough to put out official releases of if there's multiple versions of the same film. Yes, it's dumb Blade Runner has so many versions, but how many versions of like A New Hope actually are there?
If you tell me, for the sake of
well, I guess there's 3 because there were more changes made to the Blu-ray remaster, but even so,
the biggest issue with the original releases of Star Wars is that those are in a legal limbo, which is why the special editions exist at all, is to maintain the copyright on the product. Otherwise, those edits wouldn't have existed in the first place.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I always assumed that Lucas was like, I'm going to do it my way again, but with, technology that we didn't have back then. And we have all those extra scenes that are like, oh, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that Jabba to be in the first film. So it's something only for a fan to appreciate after the fact, not as a first viewer. So if you see the 97 version, you go, oh, that's interesting. And then you watch the original, whatever. I'm sure you can do it. I'm sure you can go to any torrent site and do it right now. Get the original 77 version. Which would you appreciate more? I don't know, but that's a thing you could do. The issue is it legal, and is that going to stop you from finding it? If you're a geek, if you're a fan of Star Wars, I don't think it's going to stop you, honestly.
I think if you're a dedicated enough kind of person to only wanting to see the original and not any of the remasters, you're going to find a way to get your hands on it, like I did, tracking down multiple copies of the original version on DVD, right? Just to make sure that I have it.
And I think that might be part of his argument, that having to do the work to track that down is the hurdle that shouldn't be there.
All right.
That might eventually run out.
Here we got Funko Pop Ted Bundy. Oh, boy. Thanks for the one, sir. If I could give HelloGreedo some advice, him doing these or those comments just make him look really insecure. Don't do that. I'm a little confused as to his point, though. Is he saying the new versions are good and Star Wars fans are being overdramatic, or the opposite? I don't know, because he's saying this isn't about that. This is about preserving the original.
Yeah, he's the one with the issue of them making changes. He's not saying that people need to get over the changes. He was mocking the people who did. Now, I do agree, right? The whole reading your comments out in a mocking tone of voice is never actually a good look. It's not a funny gotcha when Jim Sterling does it, It's not a funny gotcha when Greedo does it. It's just no. You can read them, but then you need to actually make a point against them instead of just being like, look at these people. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. You don't present data as evidence and just throw it away to the next one and do nothing with it. So it's kind of silly not to explain why you're doing this, unless that's the point of the video. Look at these dumb people in the comments. Here are the dumb comments. You're like, okay, they're dumb. Great. That's the video. So he doesn't address them. He just keeps going.
Versions. Preserve. You can watch his 2007 final cut, or you can watch the 1982 theatrical cut, and everything in between. To me, that's admirable. That's the way it should be.
No, that's insane. He has like 7 to 11 of these iterations that have like extra, 20 seconds here or there, or they cut out some other scenes and added the unicorn scene. It's like all this dumb shit. It's like, can you just like stop milking it, dude? You did one good film.
Release a new version that has a multiple choice menu where you can switch on and off the additions you want to the movie.
Oh God.
I don't know. I'm still with him on this because I think it's less that there's that many versions and more that they're willing to put out copies of them, right? Like, even if there's only 2, right? Like the Lord of the Rings movies, you can get, as far as I know, you can get packages that have both the theatrical and extended cuts in the same box.
Yep.
So I think that's good, right? I think it should be. Now, yes, it's dumb that Ridley Scott has put out so many versions of Blade Runner, but I agree with the principle, if not the example.
Recently, I saw that there was an announcement of a 4K version of the extended edition, but in the style of the original, like, feeder airings. So with the grain and all that stuff. So removing the filters and whatnot that's usually seen in the extended editions. Which looks interesting.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of stuff, I think should just be... I do think it should be standard that is put in a collector's box.
Yeah, it's beginning to sound like a thing you do, like a video game filter for cutscenes or what have you. We're saying, okay, well, we have all this technology. Why aren't we using it? Why aren't we allowing us to turn things on and off and subtitles and Dolby 6.1 and all this other jazz? It's like, yeah, that's true. But using Ridley Scott as an example or as a baseline is not going to be a good argument. I do get it when you buy something that you want to be able to view it in any hardware you get. I totally get that. And it's more convenient if you release the same thing with, like, I remember my brother bought whatever Lord of the Rings and it had like 3 versions. You could watch this on your DVD player, you watch this on your Sony machine or whatever. It's like, great, okay, cool. Nowadays everything's downloadable and everything is just stored somewhere. So yes, digital downloads are a thing and people still want the real hardware or hard copy. So that's great, but it's still the one version. You're not remastering it. If this is what the argument is, you're not changing it, you're not altering the resolution, you're just copy pasting it into another digital format for another piece of new hardware. And Dolby 6.7 or whatever it's up to is coming out. So now you have like stereo mono surround sound or whatever it's called. So I don't know. I whatever floats your boat. If you want to buy a Lamborghini and use it to buy milk at the store and go 10 kilometers an hour, that's great. But go to a place where it allows you to drive it if you really want to take advantage of it is the issue here. Like, you have this new hardware, but you're not doing much with the software. It's like, that's too bad. That's how it goes. So I don't see the issue. People want to buy the new version and use the new hardware with the new software. Good for you. Is it to their detriment that they're getting a worse production? Probably not. They think they're getting the better production. And this is some elitist view of the original fan going, oh, back in my day, Star Wars was this. It's like, that's true. It's not anymore. It's something else. Star Wars has been transformed in its own weird world It's no longer like I can only think. Well,
Are we talking content now?
In general, this franchise has become something else.
Oh yeah. The expansion of lore is not the same as just saying, "Oh, it changes. Changes happen," because that depends on the direction of those changes. Had the changes been for the better, had the expansion that they did in the movie canon been for the better and along the better parts of the expanded universe and with serious writers and not with a destructive will, Star Wars would do fine.
Yeah, and that'd be great if the issue was is the writing being changed? Is the scene change the plot? Does the scene change the characterization? In some cases, yes, it does with the Handshot First issue, which is the real issue. You're changing a scene.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you as a franchise, let's say, for lack of a better term, continues on and changes with how it expands in a bad way, the core audience of it will recede back to the point where it was bearable and ignore everything else. And as the magical, mythical, wider audience that they try to capitalize on with the changes dies off, and the whole brand dies off, all that's left is the original fan base, and that still only engages with the core as well as the fan editions that it deems to make sense the most. And that's where it's basically give it 10 years, and Star Wars fans will largely remain with the original movies and some of the games and the expanded universe books, some of them, as well as I mentioned the games. And it'll be as if the Disney movies hadn't happened.
I hope you're right, because there are plans for the next series of Star Wars videos, movies, whatever.
Nobody's going to watch that. Who's going to watch that? Nobody's watching these Disney series right now, and even with an exception like Andor, which I saw a couple months ago finally, because a friend had given me a movie collection when I was really sick, and other stuff. For like, I don't want to watch this Disney Star Wars. I had high hopes for Mandalorian. Bam, destroyed in episode 2, and I watched Andor because I had run out of everything else in that and was positively surprised. That is how you should do Star Wars.
Well,
how you expand it.
Look at Star Trek, right? The Discovery series. How long has that been going on for?
I don't want to look at it.
It's still going on. It's been going on for 6 years now. It's probably going to keep going till 2024.
Who's watching that? How much does it?
Well, that's the thing, because the way that they get money to watch their platform is a subscription
Who's
model.
actually paid when they make when these episodes cost millions upon millions? Who is actually getting that money? Who's being paid that money?
Well,
whose wallets are profiting
Toronto
here?
Is a lot cheaper than Hollywood, so
it's at least 10 million per episode. What the hell? What?
Canadian 10 million.
Yeah, but nobody's watching that. How are you getting your money?
7 years it's been going on. So I don't know how these subscription models work with syndication, but that's the future of Star Wars. Apparently, it's what's been happening.
Or Star Trek, but
yeah, that too.
I still consider myself a Trekkie. I've been for the longest time of my youth, and I don't consider anything past Voyager Star Trek. Like, I give it a little glance, and nah. Some people like NX-01. I didn't even bother for that.
I loved it.
And like, what the hell?
Just pretend me and Sir Axel isn't here, okay?
Right.
It's just Smud and Whisp here.
All right, we'll stop talking about other stuff and get back to the film or the video.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make.
Okay,
the original core fan base just recedes to the stuff that was the last thing that was okay.
All right, we are halfway done, and he's saying he has the right idea. He's just doing it in a very poor way.
New stuff alongside the original want to watch, preserving a film in modern viewing formats for future generations. Movie history.
And then what? What do you do when the next like 8K or 16K comes out, or I don't know, think of a new sound technology. What do? We release another storage device format and then format that to your virtual world resolution or whatever the hell we have? Like, what do you want to do to preserve the original? Like, what does that mean in the future? I don't see this as a We're still going to have flat screens. We're still going to have radio. We're still going to have gasoline-powered cars. Like, what is the problem here that we're running into? The hard drive world is not going anywhere. ROM and RAM and random access and EEPROM and EEPROM. We still
SSD.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. So I don't see what the issue is. We're going to have the original 77 version forever. It's there.
Well, that's the whole point, is if we don't put it on the new formats, it's not there. Because if, when your DVD is eventually going to wear out, and if you can't watch DVDs anymore, you can't get it digitally anywhere. So, yeah, I think his point is if there's new media that comes out, you should be putting the old version on the new media. Otherwise, you do lose the original version at some point.
That's
all you're left with
fine
is the stuff that's put on the new formats.
For an analog format, that's fine. I understand that. But everything's digital now. You can go watch the original 77 on a free streaming service.
You can't.
Okay.
You would have to pirate it to watch the original 77 version. That's the point. You can't watch it anywhere legally. It's not on Disney Plus. It's not on Hulu. It's not on any streaming service. The only thing you can watch on streaming services is the special editions.
And that's what I was referring to with the legal battle, is that as far as I've been able to understand, the reason why that thing exists at all is because the rights to Star Wars, like the original three episodes, was in legal limbo. So George wanted to have a version that can guarantee that they have the rights to Star Wars, considering that they were around the same time releasing episode 1, 2, and 3, weren't they?
Yeah, it had something to do with, I think, his divorce. And he didn't have sole rights to the original versions because his wife, because Marcia worked on it. And he ended up with the special editions.
If you can go on Amazon and download the 77 version and watch it streaming or whatever,
you can't.
You can't. It's not the original.
You cannot see the original theatrical version anywhere except the 2006 DVD releases, or if you have a VHS copy of the originals from the 70s. Those are the only ways to watch the original versions of Star Wars.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I was talking about, is that this is entirely if you refuse to use illegal methods, which piracy is, if you refuse those methods, then yes, there is a very real problem. And even then, if you wanted to go deeper than skin deep, you could talk about, internal, safekeeping, which Hollywood and just the movie industry in general is horrendous at. Like, we're talking unironically storing things in salt mines. But HelloGreedo strike me as the kind of person that wants to talk about, nitty-gritty stuff or anything above the there's more than just, it's more than just my childhood.
All right, let's keep on going.
As monumental as Star Wars, more important. Yeah, the CGI Jabba scene is goofy. Yeah, the new Jedi Rock song is over the top and sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah, the Hayden Christensen Force Ghost might be loved by younger fans, but it's not the original with Sebastian Shaw. And the list goes on and on. But again, the conversation goes deeper than just looking at things at the surface level. The conversation is about preservation, the conversation is about film history, the conversation is about showcasing where you were and who you were.
No, it's not. You changed the... Why would you change the issue? This is not... Why are we jumping into the social... This is stupid. You were fine the way... Oh, God. Why is
Remember my point like 20 seconds ago that he can't go more than skin deep? He immediately goes for the, oh, it's about, remembering who you were and where you were. Sure, philosopher.
You were just fine arguing about preserving the original because you can't find it anymore. Now we're like, oh, no, it's about what it meant to you. It's like, no. No, it's not. You're changing the argument, sir. You're moving the goalpost for no reason.
As a younger writer and director. The conversation is about giving credit to all of those who made the movies possible.
Why? Why are we talking about respecting the guys who made the original?
The people holding the rights to the original version are the people stopping you from being able to see those. Like, see the original version be redistributed. That's a problem. If everyone just held hand in hand and sang Kumbaya, then yeah, we could have these re-releases. Well, we can't.
All those people worked on every scene, including those that were not used. So, this is not a good argument.
Back in the early 80s. Those contributions to this massive collaborative effort should remain and not be so callously discarded.
What does that mean? How should it remain? And what is he talking about now?
He's going on his high horse about it is about the spirit of venerating those that made our childhoods and made this movie happen, that it could be remade later. Which is, Jesus Christ, please,
this is
to the ground, Mister.
Yeah, he just made some paper tigers. Like, oh, we gotta remember this. We can't let this happen. You're like, what's wrong? What happened? A lot of people died from the 70s that made this film. Do we have to go to their funeral now, or what are you talking? What do we need to remember? What's the I'm sure there's enough museums out there about Star Wars. What do you want?
Forgotten. To say that this is George Lucas's and he can do whatever he wants with it is to miss the broader point. I mean, I get it on a surface level, I understand it, it's a simple argument, but it's missing the point.
I don't see how anybody could...
Oh my God, please, stop it.
Why are we going back to this nonsense? What is he doing? Is he just changing the argument again? What?
I think he's just going to reiterate the point that some people don't view it as a problem. And he's going to go, well, they're missing the point. That is really about the preservation of pure blue world.
Is this like some dude who survived World War II? We have to build a monument. We need to tell the story. It's okay, we get it.
We need to preserve the story of that day I sat in a bunker and cried.
The suffering was so great. We learned so much. That's wonderful. I'm really hungry right now. Can we go home? This is getting...
Sorry, this is a McDonald's. Please get out.
Yeah, this is getting kind of weird. Mr. Old Man screaming at nothing.
More than an improvement. Seems many of nostalgia, and it prevents you from being objective. Damn, you complain a lot. There's no point to get mad about some CGI rodents. Stop hating the prequels. Greedo shot first both times, so don't get mad.
Well, that's not technically true. They changed it. I remember seeing the change.
Yeah.
Yes, that's not true at all. Greedo does not shoot first in the original version.
No, he does threaten to kill him.
Yeah.
Which is why I think ultimately the edit is fucking pointless. It doesn't change anything about Han's character. Whether he shoots him or not. First.
If you don't find the changes interesting and fun, then just...
I'd rather say in his profession, Greedo shooting first makes Han an idiot who doesn't know the people in his profession and his profession. And
true. There are implications
regarding so long.
Yeah, there is a there is a point there in regards to how his character comes across, but in terms of morality, there is nothing there.
What morality? It's a criminal dealing with other criminals.
Yes, Wisp, let me take this
Is
to basic. No, wait, let me take this to basic level. The argument is he waits for him to actually shoot and then shoots him, making him in the right. My point is that is a pointless edit because Greedo's already threatened to murder him with a gun under the table.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's not that it makes Han more moral, it rather makes Han dumb and ignorant and incompetent.
Right, I'm talking about the intent, not the execution. The execution is that he looks like a fucking retard.
Anyway,
it's as if Lucas doesn't really know what is important in an edit.
Well, if you guys remember, Lucas was wearing the Handshot First T-shirt after the '97 release. But anyway, I don't know why he's doing this thing with the comments. This is getting silly, and it's 8 years ago.
Don't comment. It's that damn who's complain. If they kept mostly the same, you guys would say they're just trying to get our money. They're just re-releasing the same things. It's stupid. But if they change it and make it better, then you guys complain and say that's stupid. I like how they messed up for a second in the original. It was cool.
But they changed it and made it worse. They didn't make it better.
It does have a
who he's reading the comment of in a mocking voice.
He does have a point in regards to, you would complain if they fixed an issue that you found funny in the movie, like the stormtrooper bunking his head. But that's about the only semi-decent point I see in this post.
We have a neologism in German about this exact issue, which is Verschlimmbesserung, which would sort of translate to worse-proofment.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, and this is what these changes in Star Wars did. They were worse-proofments.
Well, that's just, I think, George being George. But anyway,
same difference.
Mine. I like the special edition. It improve and fix what needed to be fixed. We get it, buddy. You don't like change. I don't give a fuck who voices Boba Fett, just as long as he has a voice. Fuck you, Jason Wingreen.
If you love Star Wars, if you're a
no, get the guy who voices SpongeBob.
That's a weird argument. That was Greedo arguing that they got a different voice actor for Boba Fett?
George had a bad relationship with the previous, original voice, if memory serves.
Okay.
So he had gotten a new one, and that was something he had been talking about for a long time. When he finally got it done in the special edition.
That's
he may have complained at some point in this original, whatever video that's a comment on, about Boba Fett's voice.
Yeah.
Because it did get replaced in the blue, not the special edition, because when the special edition came out, the prequels hadn't come out, but when the Blu-ray came out in 2000 whatever, that was when, and now in all the TV versions, Boba Fett is Tamira Morrison now.
Okay, but
right, that was it.
If Greedo was complaining about that seems a little petty. I would argue.
I think it's pretty fair, because it's. I mean, if you've ever watched the newer versions with Tamira Morrison, it sounds weird and out of place. Because A, mic quality is a lot different, because sound technology is a lot different, and B, it always sounds weird when somebody is. It sounds like bad ADR, because that's what it is.
Well, there's not too many scenes with the guy. He's a faceless character. He's there just to be a stand-in for the opposition thing that you have to stop, or the big bad mini boss dude. And it's not that big a change that it changes his character, because he doesn't really have much.
In regard to the audio quality, I think that's a more relevant point for this example, because for some movies where they make sequels or such, they do look for the original lenses in the archives of Hollywood to get this the same look even. I can understand why you wouldn't go to ancient audio technology, but this might be the part where it's relevant if you want to keep this same level, this same original tone and atmosphere. And I also want to use this moment of opportunity of this stupid comment by for anyone who thinks something like that, I want to remind people that the German dub voice actor for Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z was the same as for SpongeBob and Steve Urkel at first, and there was a big ruckus about that. Because everybody heard SpongeBob. So it's not irrelevant who's voicing who.
If you love Star Wars, if you're a fan, then wouldn't you want it preserved? Wouldn't you want the history?
This is really splitting hairs. If you're a fan of Star Wars, wouldn't you want it to be the way it was? It's like, no, maybe you like the remastered version. What's wrong with that?
We just need the Rosetta Stone version of Star Wars.
This is getting goofy. If you were a real fan, if you were like me, like I'm a real fan, don't you want to be like me, guys? Don't you know what a real, true, honest, 100% fan means? Like, guys, come on. Grow up.
Reserved for the future. Wouldn't you want the original, the thing that started it all?
Maybe I don't care about the original. Maybe I like episode, I don't know, 1 more. For my horrible taste in film, but good enough for me. Like, what's wrong with that? My people's, some of their Star Trek or Star Wars started with the Clone Wars, for whatever reason, and they love that.
That's their problem. But no, he does have a point about the original being preserved. That I think that is out of the question. Because that is movie history.
Yeah, but you don't make the argument that aren't you a real fan? That's not here nor there. Like, who cares what you think of how big a fan the guy who makes the argument says I like.
I don't think you can change someone's mind with this appeal to being a real fan, because either you are or you are not. And if this kind of appeal works on you, then it also works on you to sell you Funko Pops.
I just don't like this Puritan approach. You're not a real fan unless you think the way I do.
I'd rather believe it's the causality is the other way around. If you are a real fan, you care about these things, but you can't make people care about these things by making an appeal to, aren't you a real fan? That's manipulative.
If only you were like me, you would see the way I see the world. Okay. Zeke Kyle, thank you for the $1. Hand shooting first establishes that that has a different kind of hero than Luke. He's more street smart and willing to fight dirty if need be. I could believe Greedo shot first if Luke was in Han's place, because he's a lot less cunning than Han at this point. Okay.
Everyone agrees.
The whole scene shows that it's another scene that shows that this is a universe where you have that is serious, where you can't take things lightly. You can't just talk everything out.
Yeah, you'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, great.
That's why we need to show them the power of love.
Okay. 8 minutes in, and we're almost done.
Vader just needed a hug.
To be maintained in an official capacity and available? Why not? I mean, what's the harm? Why would you be against that? It's weird. People in this fandom complain and get all up in arms about a hell of a lot less. So why is this request, this, in my opinion, very valid complaint and moral objection?
So why do people not have the same viewpoint as I do? Why can't you see the world I do, world? Why is that? Okay. Why? My opinion is so valuable. Why can't people see it's so simple to get what I want? Why can't that happen?
The argument with people who dismiss original works, I think, is he has a valid point there. If you just make these, like, if you make all these cleaned up versions of 1984 and Dr. Seuss and what was it? Roald Dahl? I keep forgetting how to pronounce his name. There we have a similar issue, but a worse one, where you have these ideological cleansings in the re-releases of those works. You want to preserve the originals because the other ones are tainted by tyrannical ideologues. So yes, the wanting to preserve the original creation is a valid endeavor, and I can understand why somebody would be emotional about those originals being lost.
But you would not suddenly attack the next generation who doesn't give a shit and shouldn't.
No, it's a complaint about the next generation being a bunch of idiot buffoon consumers.
If that's the case, but these people aren't idiots. They just like Star Wars for whatever reason.
Assuming all these comments are real and not deliberate trolls. Assuming they're real, genuine, honest comments.
I think
you can't help those. You can't help those people. Yeah, I believe so too.
I don't.
You can't help those people. They're not very smart people.
I don't see that.
They only want to see blinking lights on the screen.
I don't see that as an inherent problem. Like to say that they only see the surface level of Star Wars, or they only like the new stuff. If you like the new versions of Star Wars, I mean, good for you. I don't really care. That's your taste. The
point is, those people are the very reason why Hollywood believes that the Western audience is brain dead. Everything needs to be explained in an extra visual scene that ruins the overall composition, as well as with extra narration that is completely retarded, and also that they think they can market everyone by just slapping the right logo on something.
I think that's just chalking up to bad writing.
I think they are not, these kinds of people are not the majority of any audience. They are just a loud minority.
No, I really think that's just chalking up to bad writing, and the whole issue of preserving the past or whatever media he's referring to is an issue of money. There's no business sense to do it. You're not going to sell it. Like, imagine doing a remaster of the 77 version for, I don't know, 8K, and just not doing anything else, just making it look better. Like, is that going to sell? Maybe. You might have a single showing or whatever, a monthly showing in a particular part of California that people might go see, but it's not some great endeavor that you have to go charging for.
For counterexample, I would rather say that Space Odyssey 2001 was originally captured on film quality that nobody could show at the time. It was made with the thought in mind that there would be better quality devices in the future, so that you could see the vision that Kubrick, was it Kubrick?
Yep.
That Kubrick had with the movie, and that's why to this day we can get these ever higher quality versions, these ever quite higher quality releases, because the movie was made with those visuals in mind in the first place. Star Wars was not. Star Wars was made with the technology at the time in mind. And yeah, then I would like to see that rather than this whole stuff where I see the sticks of the Muppets.
All right, we got almost 2 minutes left, or more than 2 minutes left.
At so many times. You just don't like change. What? I don't understand how anyone could be against this, unless they just haven't even considered the broader picture. And maybe that's it. People just don't know. They just hear someone like me say that they would rather have Sebastian Shaw at the end of Return of the Jedi instead of Hayden Christensen, And then that person goes, but I like Hayden Christensen, get over it. And they just don't understand or even recognize the broader picture and complaint. I get that. If you don't know, you don't know. But I hope this video can be some...
I think that's seen as rather a question of do you even understand the movie? Because Vader was old at the time. And then it brings up the whole question of, well, what defines how your whole Force Ghost looks? And you have to invent headcanon and other nonsense just because of this studio decision. Because
it adds unnecessary questions.
Yes.
Well, they played with the Force Ghost issue in the Clone Wars, I think.
It's just a bad decision change for the audience going, oh, and it backfires halfway.
It's just like the actor that's in the movies in the theater right now.
Yeah, well, again, Lucas doing weird things that are unnecessary, and you already have a finished meal, and you're trying to bring back the past. You're like, don't do that.
A lot of the stuff that Lucas does when nobody holds him back, and many writers have done, or directors, or both, is that that worked way better when it was in my head.
Yeah, and with Star Wars, it's not supposed to be a hard science fiction story, so if you start adding changes to the lore that contradict the magical, spacey stuff like the Force, then you're going to be like, wait, you've changed things. Is that how now the Force works? Why wasn't it doing that before? And we all know, oh, well, the actor wasn't available. We didn't have the first 3 films originally. It's like, yeah, but now it implies the Force has some sort of will, and then he didn't have to learn how to become a Force ghost, which was part of the Clone Wars explained, how Qui-Gon was able to become a Force ghost. So it's not like there's all these secrets that no one knows.
That was thanks to Filoni, because now Qui-Gon was the first one, which then means that all the stuff in all the games that in the expanded universe couldn't happen. Thank you.
Which calls into question Episode 9's ending. Like, how is everyone a Force ghost that was there before? They all know the technique. And when does that happen with Darth Vader? Does he stop becoming one with the Force since he's Sith, or does the Sith not have that ability?
Wouldn't the Sith be super interested in this technique to figure out a way to do it too, because they kind of want power and
immortality or whatever?
Existing longer kind of helps with that.
Yeah, I don't. It's just it opens up a can of worms that just messes with your brain. And that's on a light sci-fi sort of production as opposed to a hard science fiction story. So yeah, George. Anyway,
what out of the complaint for those who don't know or understand.
Well, we understand. I just don't care. Like, I just really don't care if we do not get a legal version of the 77 edition originally in 64K or whatever the hell it's going to be another 20 years. It's going to exist, and we're going to be able to watch it.
Are you sure it's going to exist?
Star Wars, yeah, I think it'll be fine.
The original version?
Yes, for sure. Maybe not legally, but it will.
You know what? Is I know Greedo probably isn't aware of another danger, and that is the deliberate destruction of culture, which is something that is happening. We have had libraries captured by the what today is called the woke. It's just socialism in a new iteration. Taking out 1984 from their libraries because it hurts the feelings of some of their readers.
Well, we could talk about the burning of.
It's book burning.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We could talk about
It's a step towards book burning, and the left has already burned books in Canada.
Well, we could talk about the destruction of the Library of Athens, but nowadays everything's digital, and the internet.
Yeah, that makes it even easier to get rid of eventually.
No, the server farms of Google are vast and gigantic.
The server farms of Google are controlled by woke people who edit the ebooks of they edit ebooks of old stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put the stop here. This part of this discussion is too broad to tackle as a side tangent.
But that's
for a fucking HelloGreedo video.
But that's what Greedo's trying to get at, that we're not going to have these things anymore. And I'm telling you...
And he's not worth getting into the topic over. He is... his brain is too smooth for any of...
I don't care about Greedo's superficial surface level complaints. But he is nudging on a real problem. You need physical copies of old original works, because otherwise we will only be subject to the magical, politically correct edits of the future. And then we do live in an Orwellian dystopia.
Well, I don't think Amazon AWS is going anywhere. The EC2 servers aren't going anywhere. The Google Plexes aren't going anywhere. They might get bought out, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but products of the companies they buy can be wiped out immediately.
There's so many backups. It's crazy. If you guys can go to a local server farm or a Uniplex or anything downtown of your city and just go, holy shit, there's a big fat pipe with a big server farm here. This is not going anywhere. And it's backed up in like Jerusalem or...
Illegally, you can probably always get something off the internet. That's true. It's very rare that something just completely disappears off the internet. The problem is people don't want to constantly risk being a pirate, having to do illegal stuff to enjoy something that they want to spend money on. There was an animator a while ago that made a couple of Twitter posts about a show he worked on for his kids. That's just gone now due to the company he worked at being merged under another company. With them wiping, I think it was 80% of the shows they'd made during the past couple of years. And so he had to pirate his own show to show his kids.
That is sad. Oh, look how Disney tries to get rid of Song of the South. This is completely innocent movie.
Yeah. I just wish the argument would he would do some research on how this, like, if he actually went to torrent sites. Oh, look, it's right there. That's the thing I wanted. Why can't we sell that?
But people don't... It's not a good sign when you have to go hunting for illegal copy.
Right,
this is true.
Is correct.
But
Lost
the
media
argument,
is a thing.
Yeah, but the
that
argument
is completely correct.
The argument has been satisfied, whether it's legal or illegal. I don't really care about the legality of it. It exists. It does exist. It's not a problem. So anyway.
And always online services. We know what happens when that happens to video games, especially with always online single player video games. That is great. And with the digital add-ons to cars at this point, we are facing the same trouble with real life appliances right now, because one of these copycat companies in China that made electric vehicles has collapsed. And now its electric vehicles can't run updates anymore and unlock their functions, aside from them burning up because they're crap productions. But since those servers are down, you can't access all of the functions of those cars anymore.
There is absolutely issues with preservations and moving over to the digital end and it just not working. There's absolutely an issue. What Greedo is arguing about, I don't think really covers it, because the issue here isn't people don't care about the original version. No, it's because it's in a legal dilemma by Megas XLR, where broadcasting it that can get you into fucking legal trouble.
And I don't I don't expect Greedo to go very deep or broad into issues like this. Most of the people we watch and as conversation starters basically don't do that. That's why we talk about these things.
All right, let's get this finished. One more minute.
Considered it. I mean, every version of Star Wars has changes, every single version. So like someone who loves the 1997 special editions, do they not like the 2004 changes? Or the 2011 Blu-ray changes, or the McClunky version on Disney Plus? Are there people who are diehard fans of certain changes over the decades? The way that I am with the unaltered version? Like, f 2004 Jabba, 1997 Jabba is way better. That would be so funny to me. People complaining about changes that have already been changed, but they like the original change more than the new.
That's exactly what you're complaining about.
Welcome to the Christian beliefs, my man.
Why are you laughing at yourself, sir? This is silly. There are so many iterations of the thing, but you're only a real fan if you like the 77 version, guys. Okay, you got to preserve that. Everything else, I don't care.
People have waged war over minor changes to stuff they love and find important. And you're doing the exact same shit, but the 1997 2004 version is not important to you. Meanwhile, I grew up with the 2004 version on TV.
I could imagine people having done this if there had been slightly different versions of the Iliad and the Odyssey back in.
Yeah, but this is such an elitist thing, and now he's acting like the snob he is. Oh, my version's better. Okay, buddy. There's like 12 different versions out there, but this is the OG. Okay.
People absolutely get that crazy over translations of the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Yeah.
A new one just came out, and there's some to-do about it because it's awful. Like, this happens.
Dude, I've read 12 versions of the Tao Te Ching, and there are really crappy ones, which is mainly a problem of the times when they were made, as some of the first ones, because they didn't even understand the concepts and words used in the original text, because none of the translators had even comprehended what this is really about. They just saw, this has some interesting wisdom here, but what does this word mean? This total core concept. I'll just translate it into something that sounds like a very limited Christian thing that completely distorts everything without me even understanding that it does that. Yeah, translations are hard. And that's why mucking about edits, whether it's translation or film edits, there's a relevance to that.
Anyway, let's keep going.
The one neat thing that's come out of the trilogy are the fan edits, the fan restorations. Now, I've talked about them extensively on the channel before. I've made a few videos about them, so I'm not going to go into deep detail right now. I'll link some videos in the comment section, but my two favorite are 4K 77 and Harmy's Despecialized. Again, I've talked
Harmy's Despecialized is also an altered version that changes the coloration of various scenes. It is not your... If that's the one you've seen, like, I don't believe this guy's actually seen the original 70s VHS tape. And if he has, then wonderful. But considering he pulled out I'm a 37-year-old millennial, something tells me that he hasn't actually seen the original, and the closest he's seen is those quote-unquote despecialized versions.
Side question, have episode 2 and 3 ever gotten good phantom edits?
Yes, I think so. They actually were cleaned up, and I can't remember how long they were, but they cut out a lot of crap.
Okay.
Anyway, this is this is getting silly. Why is he talking about fan edits? I don't know, but okay.
Before quite a bit. If you're curious about watching the best unaltered version
Yeah, my idea of the best. That's great.
of Star Wars in the best quality available. I'll toss some links to a couple of my videos in the comment section below. Project 4K77 has become my go-to way of watching Star Wars. Anyway, have a good one.
So is he okay with Project 4K77? Is that his baby? If so, he's just proven the problem. He's just solved the problem of preserving the past.
He doesn't care about the fucking past. He just wants the version he likes the most.
Well, he got his 4K version of 1977. So what's the problem? Like, what is the issue here, buddy?
The problem, I think his problem is it's not official. And so you're stuck with a dedicated, there has to be a person dedicated to doing something.
What insane...
Unofficially, in order to preserve particular versions of the movie.
This is insane. This is like, I wish I had the original Neapolitana style pizza. All of a sudden, a pizzeria that's certified by Napoli, a VPN or whatever the hell it's called, opens up a block away. I'm very happy, but I'm still bitching that I can't get a real Neapolitana style pizza. What the hell was the point of this video? For him to say that, right? Oh, this is my go-to 1977 version of A New Hope. It's like, oh, so it has been preserved. It has been made. The thing you wanted. So you do know there's illegal versions of it, and you're okay with that. But he's
okay with the fan edits because those
are
fans. But he's not cool with opening up a torrent.
This is so stupid. Oh, if the argument was, well, it's digital, we gotta make copies and backup, it's like we have that. It's done. It's called AWS or Google Web Services or any we have the technology. It's been done. Oh my God, this dude. What was the point? Anyway, hopefully there's some fun stream memes to help me stop getting angry at a fanboy.
A not very smart fanboy. There are fanboys that are okay.
Oh boy, lots of stream memes. Here we go. Anakin being denied the rank of master. All right. When the U.S. leaves Afghanistan abruptly, tally boys? I'm like, what the hell? The Force Awakens, you mean the Force recycled? Oh.
That is good. That is a good one.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair. I can't read that. It's on white. Wait, I was promoted to the council without the rank of master initially. Just be patient. Oh, really? That reassures me. Thanks, Master Mundi. Okay. That. All right. What about the Wookiee attack on the droids? Go, I will. Good relations with the droids I have. Oh boy, whose edit was that? Don't tell me that was a real version of an edit. Hopefully, just a drunken meme. What about the droid attack on the cookies? Oh, har. Free Palpatine, as opposed to Free Palestine.
Yeah, but this is a dumb person. And as you can tell from the avatar, it's a borderline clone. A lot of them look exactly like this. I don't know. They seem to come out of clone vats.
They're all vegan, blue-haired, fat chick. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, with exactly this hair color and this makeup.
Yeah.
They all come from the same Starbucks at the same time.
I don't know how you can be vegan and gigantic, but I don't know. I guess you got.
Oh, that is very easy, Smart.
Keep eating.
How much
sugar?
Fatty stuff do you want to cram into one roll of sushi?
Yeah,
rice.
Smud. Potato chips are vegan. Like.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
Oh God.
They don't have any animal products in them.
Starch, yeah, that would do it.
Just put a lot of dressing on your salad.
Yeah, but if you're eating healthy, like you would think not to do that, but apparently not.
Vegan isn't the same as healthy.
Yeah, vegan just means vegan. And besides, like when you think about certain when you think about like vegan meat replacements, they replace the meat with beans and they replace the taste with vegetable oil. So
okay.
Oh, very healthy, as you can see. But
it's very, very unhealthy.
It's some of the most unhealthy food you can come across. It's right up there with high fructose corn syrup.
Oh, okay. What I think I look like,
which is also vegan, by the way.
At the Target self-checkout camera. What? There's a Target self-checkout camera? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, if you go to Target in certain part, maybe every Target now, I don't know, but there is a camera at the self-checkout that points right at you, and you can. It's not just like a hidden camera. It's there displaying you on camera on the screen. It's really awkward.
We have that at convenience stores. It's funny.
So to remind you that you should actually pay your stuff, or what?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know what's going on, but a bunch of Lego people just exploded.
Oh, that's the opening where the whole cockpit, like the entire thing explodes and then they fall down and die.
Oh.
That's in Hoff?
That's it, the first episode, like the first level.
Hey, Anakin. Oh, it's the cartoon. Was it Robot Chicken version? Hey, Anakin, just calling you since I totally forgot youngling Jedis were a thing. Of course, we can just re-educate them or something. You did what? Oh boy, I remember. I don't know if it was the Robot Chicken who made that joke or it was whoever else made that joke originally. They wanted to have a whole army of Sith, and they thought, oh, we can capture the younglings. But he forgot to tell Anakin. Which character could unite prequel, original, and sequel fans? Go for Papa Palpatine. Maybe as a person to dislike and be an opponent against.
The things that were pulling through all the movies were the droids, and I have an excuse to be permanent characters because they're basically immortal trash cans. You didn't need Palpatine. You didn't need him.
Oh, this is great. I love this scene. It's just been rewritten. So Padme actually falls out of the transport carrier. And Obi-Wan's, Anakin, forget about her. Remember what I taught you, Anakin. It's over, Padme. We have the high ground. Yeah, it's over, Padme. We have the high ground.
I like the one where it's like, we have to go back for her. No, Anakin, she's full of sand. And he just looks down sadly.
Oh. How come nobody says wizard anymore? Oh. Okay. How was it? Wizard. He's bringing it back. Okay.
That goes over my head.
The face you make when you hear there are almost 40 completed and unreleased episodes of Star Wars series from the Robot Chicken creators. Oh, wow. Yeah.
It sounds more compelling than rewatching the Clone Wars.
I'm not sure what's going on here, but a Force ghost
of Jar Jar.
Oh my god.
That's a great running gag in Robot Chicken.
Oh, really?
Imagine being haunted by Jar Jar's Force ghost.
South Park made the argument better than HelloGreedo did. Yeah, that one scene, or that one shot of George protecting the original reel, 35 mil.
Yeah.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. From my point of view, you're standing on the 969th highest summit in Massachusetts. Anakin, is this another one of those stupid in-jokes that I'm going to have to Google to know what the hell you're talking about? Oh, I see. Yeah, real mature, Anakin.
His fucking face.
All right. No, I already saw that. Oh my god. Lean lightsaber. I love lean. What?
Lean?
I don't even know what that means.
Boomers.
It's a drug drink. It's like
They won't get it.
Arizona fruit juice mixed with like codeine or something, like prescription strength Tylenol or something. I don't know.
So the color comes out a certain color. Is that the argument? Or the statement he's trying to make?
Because it's usually one of the things that's usually in it is purple Kool-Aid.
Oh, that makes more sense. Oh my god, what is happening here? Okay. What? Challenge him, you must, and I'm Hayden Christensen. What? Okay.
That's a reference to Hayden Christensen being randomly inserted into a scene.
Okay, I guess. Boy, those Germans have a word for everything.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Stop
So
saying...
you do have some words in English that we have no expression for, and it's lacking. So we still have work to do.
So...
do you have a German equivalent for Hüge?
For what?
Hüge.
What is that in English?
Comfy.
Comfortable? Yeah. Komfortabel. Kuschelig.
Close enough.
Oh no, I'm not racist enough for politics. Stop saying brave when you mean racist. What?
He says, I'm not brave enough for politics.
So does that mean...
Stop saying brave, as in, you're so brave for saying that. And she's thinking, you only say that when they're racist.
So...
Then logic being applied here with him going, I'm not brave enough for politics, to, I'm not racist enough for politics.
So that means that the people who are talking about politics are the racists? I may have.
I think you're putting too much thought into it.
Yeah, no, I may have gone too far. Yeah, I remember that quote.
He realized it, but it was too late.
Yeah, like after the fact, like, oh yeah, I completely did too much shit.
I think if he had asked, "Hey, Star Wars fans, we put too much stuff in the movie. We're kind of run out of money. Can you help us, please?" I think he would have gotten some bucks.
That clip and the clip of him going, well, it's like poetry, it rhymes. I love those. I love them.
When the Genosians give you the bill for all those battle droids. Some of the sexiest video game characters: Widowmaker, Samus, Lego Genosis Battle Droid, and Katana. Who would win? A galaxy-spanning republic that has been guarded by the Jedi for over 1,000 generations. Some edgy teen with a Scooby-Doo villain.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about the hubris of an ancient cult.
It's like the 4K version took... This is from Mike, by the way. It's like the 4K version took the original and gave it a CW show makeover.
Yeah, it looks horrendous.
And that's all every shit. You're right.
It looks glowy. It's like everything's radioactive or something.
Yeah, in the original, you can see a difference between the foreground and the background. The foreground is a warmer color than the background, which is realistic cold colors, and the new one says everything is blue.
It looks horrendous.
This is basic image composition.
Yes,
this has been destroyed here.
That is what I mean when I say that there are cases where these re-releases just ruin them and make shit just look awful.
Why are these studios that make these hiring people who obviously have never seen a film university?
I don't know what Captain Sex is. Does anyone have any idea what reference we're talking about?
Oh, it's Captain Rex, but turned into sex. I get it.
Okay. Interesting.
Get it because they changed one letter.
Anyway, oh boy, that was yeah. I mean, the memes are over my head. Most of them.
We're getting old.
I guess
We're losing touch with the new clones.
I'm just like this dude is not making much of an argument. He's shot himself in the foot in the last 20 seconds. And I'm like, what is happening? So that was I thought it was gonna be boring. That was just dumb. It was like, yeah, you're saying the right thing in the wrong way, and then you're doing the thing we were recommending to do in the last seconds. So why are you complaining? And if it's really about digital storage, then this is not the right video for you. So, is this an issue with Watch Together, or is this he didn't put the end credits of his next videos to watch?
No, we didn't finish the thing. Maybe they still pop up.
No, you're right.
There we go.
Good enough. All right. Ho! Thanks, guys, for coming on. That was a gigantic waste of time, as always. Watching HelloGreedo. Well, hopefully another year will pass, and we can watch another one. And
Make Rosetta Stone copies of everything.
Oh my God, this dude! What a dumb, backwards, forgetful argument. Yeah, I can't wait another 10 years. We get, what is it, 16K and virtual reality. We can't watch the original 77 version anymore. Okay.
I hope CRTs make a comeback for gaming.
Really? You like CRTs?
Yeah. The color warmth is so different.
All right. I mean, if you like
it doesn't work for dark games, but everything else is just whoa.
Well, thankfully my eyes have survived another 10 years without using CRTs, and I'm happy for that.
CRTs don't destroy your eyes.
Yes, they do.
It's lies. It's evil propaganda.
It's a giant gun shooting light in your face. Anyway.
Yeah, but it doesn't destroy your eyes. Anyway. The whole thing about you should sit at least 2 meters away from your TV as well. Was complete bullshit. It was just scaremongering by people who believe in Earth rays.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a good evening.